Hey gang, Jerry here, and welcome to episode 3, I believe it is, of our Factory 5 hot rod truck build. Going to give you a little bit of update today on where we're at. So we got everything unpacked, we have everything inventoried from the previous video. We have our front suspension parts out to powder coat, so we're waiting to get those back so we can put the front suspension together. Been working on mocking up the firewall here so we can mark where all of our holes and rivets are going to go. The rear axle here, we have pretty much that all mocked up and ready to install. I'm just waiting on some ends. I did receive the wrong ends for the lower control arms. I've contacted Factory 5. By the way, their customer support has been fantastic so far. I know I'm kind of just in the intro of my build, but the customer support's been very, very well. So once we get those, we can get the rear axle installed. But today's video, what I'm going to focus on is kind of like showing the assembly portion of our Koni shocks. So I have our shocks here, and I have our front shocks already put together. I have one of the rear shocks put together. I'm going to walk you through the steps on putting the shocks together. And it's a little bit different. The book is pretty good, but let me walk you through the steps. So obviously you can see here our rear shock is a little bit longer than our front shocks. The book really doesn't say this, but you have to remove this rear snap ring up to this groove here, or the shocks just won't be correct. So that's the very first step we're going to do. So let's move this snap ring right here. Take our snap ring pliers and unseat the snap ring. And just slide it up to the next groove, and there you go. So that's a necessary step to do because the springs are the same length and our sleeves are the same length for front and rear. So in order for everything to fit correctly when the shock is fully extended, you have to move that snap ring. And nowhere in the manual does it actually talk about that. So, all right, so we have all of our shock components here. We have the snap ring moved. Very next step is we're going to take our ring here and take our set screw. This is our little set screw, and we're going to install it in the ring. There's one hole that's a complete through hole, and just take that set screw and thread it in there like that. We can take our little Allen wrench and just thread it into where it's kind of flush on the outside. It's not really protruding through on the inside. Once we get all the suspension set and the shocks installed, we'll set the correct height and then lock that down. But that'll be done after the suspension's all together. Okay, have that set. We can take our sleeve, slide our sleeve with this end down onto our shock, and this end will sit on a snap ring. Then we can take our sleeve with the hat portion, I call it the hat portion, up. You can thread that onto our sleeve here. And you want to thread this down to about midway, to about right there. Then we'll take our washer and we're going to put a little bit of white lithium grease on our washer. Now, this goes a long way, so you can kind of be sparingly with the grease. So kind of put some around there, and then you can kind of smear it out with your finger. Whoop. Put it all around. And use good products when you're making your build. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of money invested into your build. So make sure you're using all good quality products. So I'm using the Lucas white lithium grease here, and I'll try to leave links in the description down below on some of the products that I'm using during my build. But obviously the grease side goes down on top of our sleeve there. Wipe off anything excess that you get. We're going to move our bump stop here. We're going to move our bump stop down approximately about 2 inches, and we're going to take our spring. Now notice our spring here is listed 250 pounds. So the springs are exactly the same size and they look exactly the same, but the front springs are 400 pounds and the rear springs are 250 pounds. So make sure that you're putting the right spring on the right shock. So I got the 250 pound spring. Gonna set that on our shock like so. Now we're gonna get our shock hat. This is called like the shock hat. We're gonna slide this through here. Gotta move this down just a little bit more, give us a little bit more room. Make sure our shock's fully extended. Take our hat, slide it through like this, come up here like this, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually spin this collar back up, and you're gonna have the spring hold the hat in place. So you're gonna be actually putting some tension on the hat with the spring by doing that. So now that I have that twisted up, you can see it's being held in place. And now the last step is to install our snap ring. We'll take our snap ring, it goes on here. Now the important thing about the snap ring is the opening of the snap ring, you do not want the opening of the snap ring in the opening of the hat. So I'm gonna kind of orientate it. I'm gonna try to put it in just like here. So take our snap ring pliers, get it on our snap ring like so. Get it in there and then press it down. You should be able to hear like an audio click when it's in there all the way, and it is. So there, we got our snap ring in place. And now the last step that the book has you do is it has you put a couple of tie straps through this hole here and this hole here, just to hold the spring in place on your shock. So before I do that, I'm gonna move my little bumper stop back down, like so. And I have my tie straps here. So I twisted the spring to where I have a large portion of the spring kind of sitting on the hat on both sides. I don't have like it right here where the hole is. I have where I have a nice flat portion lined up with the hole, and the same thing with this side. We're going to slide our tie strap through, zip tie I should say, zip tie through. Just like this. Down like that, just like so. We'll cut off the excess. Do the same thing to the other side. I'm bending the end of the zip tie here so you can kind of make this bend a little bit easier. Just work it through. So tighten off and snip it off. And that's it. We have our shock all assembled, just like the other three, and they're ready to go into the vehicle. So I hope that helps you out on how to assemble the Factory 5 Koni shocks. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We're going to be doing videos like this through the entire build of the vehicle. So if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you click that bell so you don't miss any future uploads, okay? All right, gang. Remember, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. All right, gang, take care and see ya.